Yeah, 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 yeah. It's for the healers. It's for the thinkers. This for the men and women trying to love again. Scarberry Queens. Tanya 23 experience. Yummy Bula, let's talk. Scarberry and Queens, we bringing truth to the scene. Not just opinions, we building solutions and dreams. From pain to purpose, yeah, we breaking old routines. Trying to heal black love, men and women in between. Scarberry and Queens, let the ancestors speak. Motherly laws bring the village back to the streets. We ain't here to fight, we here to teach and to reach where we can rise together, soul to soul, heart to beat. It's the Tanya 23 experience, voice of the mothers, trying to stop us from seeing each other as enemies, brothers. Some of us hurt, some of us tired, some of us only know survival, not desire. I seen mamas cry, I seen aunties pray, I seen grandmas hold the family together every day. So why we forget where the love comes from? Why we treat each other like we already done? We here to remind you, not judge your pain, not point fingers but break them chains. Men need nurture, women need respect, and both need healing, not toxic effects. Scarberry and Queens, we bringing truth to the scene. Not just opinions, we building solutions and dreams. From pain to purpose, yeah, we breaking old routines. Trying to heal black love, men and women in between. Scarberry and Queens, let the ancestors speak. Motherly laws bring the village back to the streets. We ain't here to fight, we here to teach and to reach where we can rise together, soul to soul, hard to beat. Yummy Bula in the building, yeah, I'm talking that real. We ain't bashing nobody, we tryna heal. Men be carrying weight, women carrying pain. Everybody guarded, everybody strained. But deep down we all wanna be safe, wanna be loved, wanna breathe, wanna lay our heads straight. Every man remembers that nurturing touch, whether it was mama, auntie, or somebody who loved him enough. That energy don't make you weak, it make you strong. It's the reason you get up and keep moving on. We gotta stop thinking the worst of each other, start listening again like sisters and brothers. This ain't gossip, this is guidance, this ain't drama, this is science. Trauma lives in the body, the love is defiance. We can rewrite stories, we can shift the tone, but it start with truth when we come back home. Yeah, we ain't perfect but we honest, trying to teach accountability and conscience, trying to show you how to love without armor. Not every woman is trauma in the form, bruh. Not every man is danger or threat. Not every woman trying to get what she could get. We talking balance, we talking rules, we talking healing, not viral abuse. We ain't here for clicks, we here for change. Scarberry and Queens, yeah, we shifting the game. Scarberry and Queens, 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 Queens. Scarberry and Queens, we bringing truth to the scene. Not just opinions, we building solutions and dreams. From pain to purpose, yeah, we breaking old routines. Trying to heal black love, men and women in between. Scarberry and Queens, let the ancestors speak. Motherly laws bring the village back to the streets. We ain't here to fight, we here to teach and to reach so we can rise together, soul to soul, heart to beat. This is the Scarberry and Queens podcast, where healing is the message, truth is the medicine, and love is the mission. With Tanya 23 and Yummy Bula. Let's heal.
Yes. Peace, everyone.
Peace, everyone.
Welcome back to the Scarberry and Queens podcast. That would be good if I can get my camera on. Peace, Yami. It's been a minute.
Tanya. Yes, it has.
Back on.
Yes, we back. We are back.
Tonight we have our wonderful special guest. This is brother, as you can see, Heru. Heru. We'll let him introduce himself. Peace. How are you?
Peace and love, fam. I'm great. I'm beautiful. It's all good.
It's good. How you doing this evening?
I'm excellent. How y'all feeling?
Good.
I'm feeling good. Finally got cooled off a little something. I was heated up just before we got on. I was like, what in the world?
Yeah, it's it's 100 degrees in the DMV.
Yeah, it's actually still 100 here.
Same thing in New York.
Yeah, Yami's in New York, so it's heated up down there.
It is.
We got peace to Wimble Plush in the chat, and Hockey 1278. Peace for coming through.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's on Twitch. All right.
Oh,
Peace
nice.
and love. We had somebody that's looking at us on Twitch. Okay.
That's cool.
Hey,
That's
can I
what's up.
ask you real quick? Did you write the lyrics to that intro song?
Absolutely. Can't you tell?
Wow, you're a good writer. Them with some powerful lyrics.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, I
That was
actually
real
am a
powerful.
writer. Yes, I have a
I
number
was
of
listening
books
to
that
it.
I've
I'm
been
like, man,
writing.
it's no way AI wrote that. That's too
No,
good. I'm
no,
like, man, if you
No,
tell
no,
me
no.
AI wrote
See,
that, I'm gonna
and real
lose it.
people can get that. Real people can grasp that,
right.
out of it because it says something particular and specific.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes, yes. Thank you for that. Um, what was I about to say? Oh, before we get started, I have, and I'm trying to make this a habit if I can slow down and remember. I'm gonna start with the short Meruneta inspired opening prayer, and then I will give the English translation. So here we go. Dua Neteru, Dua Ma'at, Ankh Weja Seneb, Sim Ebe, Mer Ebe, Hotep Ebe, Ankh Dejet. Now, here is the English translation. Honor to the divine, honor to Ma'at, life, prosperity, and health. May everyone who enters this space come with an open mind and a peaceful heart and respect for one another. May wisdom be shared, truth be honored, and love guide every conversation. And may our ancestors smile upon this gathering. And may all who seek knowledge receive it in peace. Unk and peace. So it is.
Ashe.
Hotep.
Hey, how
As
Shay?
you can see, when we speak Meru Netter and then we translate it, you see how many English words I had to say for the 3 lines of Meru Netter? Yeah, so you can spawn. I want to let people understand that all other religions spawned out of this Meru Netter. Okay, so yeah, another show for another time. But
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
yes,
You
yes,
know,
yes.
real quick, I want to ask you this because hearing you
Go ahead.
read that reminded me of something. I was just
Mhm.
listening to it yesterday. Have you all ever heard Erica Badu album New America Volume One?
Absolutely, I've been running it since it came out.
Are y'all
I really love
familiar
her.
with the outro at the end of? I think that's the song Twinkle, and there's a brother on there reading
Meru Netter.
Metanetter on there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
just reminded me of that. Like it was some
Um,
similar
if
terms I
I'm
heard you say
mis-
that was also in that.
Yes, if I'm not mistaken, that brother that's reading the Medu Nectar is none other than the ancestor Baba Heru, Ankh Samaj Patah from Harlem, New York. He just became an ancestor in either late 2025 or early 2026. If you've watched Sonetta before, he is the Baba that brought ancient Kemetic teachings into actually North America. He's been around for like 50 some odd years or whatever.
Wow.
But
Wow, wow, I
he's
had
on
no idea.
YouTube.
I've never
I'll
heard
share,
of him.
yeah, I will share some of the links to him. And yeah, he's one of the first people I ever heard speak Meru Neter. Yeah. Um he's actually the father of a temple in Manhattan that's run by Comedic Ascension, it's called. They're on YouTube also. If
I've
you
have
just
heard of them.
okay, and that's brother oh my goodness. What is his name escaping me right now? Um he's on Sonetta all the time. He's the one that does the teaching. He actually
Brother
has a
Jabbar.
comedic. Brother Jabari, absolutely.
for sure.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
I
He
did
and
a
his
I
wife have
attended his
the temple,
tour.
right?
He
Yeah,
came
their
to
temple
DC.
teacher is Baba Heru, the one you're talking about. He gave Erica Badu her first unk. She
Mm.
talks about that
Okay.
a lot. Yeah, that was him. And he just made transition earlier this year. But yeah, when I first saw him do a ritual called the opening of the way, I was blown away to the point where I now know that ritual inside and out and I can teach others.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm gonna teach you. I'm gonna teach Yami too.
Please do.
When you
Please do.
come, I'm gonna teach it to you. Yeah, but we gonna get it on. So
See how the
yeah,
universe
but
don't make
that
more
brother,
mistakes. I'm glad I brought
yes,
that up so you could have given me
yes,
that information, and then even for you to
yes.
offer
I
to
do that ritual
teach it to me.
every morning. Absolutely. Opening of the way. Yes. Um, right. So we actually got that from Baba Heru when he helped establish the first Kemetic temple in New York City.
Wow.
Yeah, yes. So, Brother Heru, I have some questions that I was thinking about earlier, and I'm just going to jump out with one for you. Let's
Let's
just
do it.
start with give us a little background about, how you came into the Kemetic faith.
Wow, that's a good question. I like to say it's always been in me. I
Mm-hmm.
definitely wasn't raised that way, but I think my first real introduction into it was the Vampires of Consciousness lecture by Phil Valentine, which I
Mm-hmm.
have that lecture on my YouTube page too. I remastered it in 4K.
Mm-hmm.
Someone had given that to me like years and years ago when I was young, and it changed my life. It's like a lot of things I felt was solidified in that, and it helped lead me down a path into like what they call the conscious community. From there I started to um discover like the conscious DVDs, things like that. I had a homie here in DC from uptown, and he used to go to New York like once a month and get the DVDs. This before everything was on YouTube. And
Mm-hmm.
he would share them with me, and yeah, it just really turned me out in a way. But as I said, I've always been attracted to these things even before I fully understood what they were. Things just attracted me to it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes, that seems to be the like a focal point for a lot of people when I talk to them. They have always had an attraction to it, and when they started to see the imagery is when something within them was just activated. I even have that same story. I was fascinated with Egypt when I was a little girl, like 4 years old, 5 years old, and I used to flip the pages in this anthropology book. Of course, in the beginning of the book, it showed us as apes and how we evolved, the whole caveman, Paleolithic, and this and that part. And after that came the Egyptian images and whatnot. So when I got to that, it blew me away. I saw all of the gold, of course, the casket masks and whatnot that they had that were made out of solid gold, and all the beautiful women, and just everything fascinated me. And I just always just said, yeah, that's me, or I'm connected to that. And then life happened and it just went away. And when I say went away, I didn't see anything about Egypt again until I was a grown woman with children of my own and going on a journey, a religious journey, because I actually started out as an earth in the nation of gods and earths. And then I saw that the crack epidemic and everything had swallowed up most of the gods that I knew. So I'm like, nah, that can't be. what they say it is because it didn't have the power to save them. So I kept it moving. I went into the church, and then I saw that whole situation. And while I was there, that's when Kemet came back. And I was glad because I had a whole lot of stuff there to say. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm back where I started. Yeah, that was something. But let me ask you this really quick. Get ready. The phrase know thyself is often associated with ancient wisdom. What does that phrase truly mean to you since you've come into the ancient Kemetic faith? And we want to stress ancient Kemet because that is when it was run by African nations. The other nations that came in and did the colonizing, we're not really picking up on that. We're keeping it ancient. Okay.
For sure. Know thyself. When I hear that, the first thing that pops in my mind actually is the movie The Matrix Part One. That was one of my favorite scenes. The Oracle had it on the wall. She told Neo he wasn't the one yet because he was missing something, and she told him, you know thyself. If I'm not mistaken, she maybe even said it to him in Latin. But until he could know himself, he couldn't really truly become the one. His old self had to die, and he didn't understand that. He thought he wasn't the one, but he was. But once the old self died, yeah. So that I see a lot of allegory in that, and what the ancients most likely meant when they said, know thyself. We must know who we are and be accepting of it. And I'm definitely at that point in my life where I'm accepting of who I am. As Mary J. Blige once put it, take me as I am or have nothing at all. So it's different strokes for different folks. So I know myself enough to know like who I am, and I'm content with that. So if it's not someone's cup of tea, so be it. You can verbally express that respectfully, and if we need to, we go our separate ways. But I think in this society that we're in right now, a lot of people are scared to know themselves because there's something we have to conform into. There's the quote unquote normal way. There's the trends, there's the things that's popular, there's what everyone else is doing. And sometimes if you go against that grain, it's not an easy task. It's not for everyone. Sometimes you got to stand alone. And if you know yourself, this energy is not for me. That's not right. So I'm gonna do me, and hey, if you build it, they will come. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And one more thing I want to say, knowing myself, I know this too about myself and all human beings on this planet. The only thing we require truly is sunlight, air, water, nutrition, and possibly shelter. So, hey.
Absolutely. I
Definitely.
feel like when we say know thyself, it is the beginning of any sort of psychology that you would understand about yourself or anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
Um, know thyself for me really has been to check my own self, check my own ways, how I move. Um, how is it? How do I affect others? Um, and to realize who I am, as we would say in our square or in our circle. What part am I playing in this atmosphere, world, realm, whatever you want to call it? I realize I guess I'm a little choppy out there, guys. My internet, I don't know. I've done everything. I'm actually connected directly to the box right now, so there's nothing more I can really do.
Okay, we can
It's
hear you, so it's all
this is
right.
where I
It,
am.
Yeah,
That's great.
we hear you
Okay, I'm
fine, and
glad at
that's what's
least I
most
can hear you.
important. Your
Yeah,
audio is very
because I can
clear.
literally turn this camera off. What in the beginning was the sound, and that's what's popular here. And knowing yourself actually helps you not get so hung up on yourself, you
yeah,
know.
yeah,
Um, yeah. So, Yami,
yes.
what's your experience of knowing yourself?
Wow.
Yeah,
It took me some time to learn myself. I'm still learning myself. Okay.
yeah, absolutely.
You know, I started, had to be like 7 years ago on this
Mm,
journey. I've been hearing about, Kemet and um, just Egypt and everything. I've been hearing about it, but I didn't really dive into it until like right before COVID hit. You know what I'm saying? And I just did a deep dive. Once I heard Vicky Dillard speaking about it, I went head first, dived right in. You know, um, my parents didn't really raise me in the church,
mhm,
thank God. You know, and I had people around me trying to recruit me into their churches and stuff, but
mhm.
it never really stuck. I didn't really feel like I belong there, if that makes sense. And
Makes a lot of sense.
Yes.
yeah,
I actually, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, that's okay. And yeah, I'm just been on this journey, and I'm happy that I'm on it. It's just like I'm loving myself more. I'm taking care of myself more, and I'm not I'm not so reactive to things that used to trigger me. And I'm growing. I'm growing. And I can't be more happier. I'm willing to learn even more.
That's
You know?
excellent.
Yeah.
I must say, it's something about when you realize that and you start to get into the particular gods and goddesses and what they represent in this. And now I was going to get right back to you, Heru, on how did you stumble upon your spiritual name, Eye of Heru?
It was actually bestowed upon me,
Mm-hmm.
which was almost like fate. A lot of my dealings with ancient Kemet, when I look back at my life, it's almost like it was fate. So that name, was bestowed upon me by Tashaka Sankofa.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and when he first bestowed that name upon me, I didn't really like it. But then when I started to do my research on it, it got kind of airy because I'm like, wow, this is one of the main figures that the figure Jesus is emulated from. And what's ironic about that is when I was young, one of the nicknames people used to call me, and I did not like this name at all, but they used to call me Black Jesus, which is ironic because I'm so light. So in my community, I was always the lightest one. But now when I look back at it, I think subconsciously we were associating Jesus with being white. So that's why they would call me Black Jesus. So like that was one of my nicknames growing up. And I hated that name. I hated when people called me that. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, damn, then I became an adult and I went through the, Afrocentric, rebirth. And that was the name that was given to me. And of course, the guy who gave me the name had no idea that that's what people used to call me.
Hmm.
But it's, I guess, like I said, it's almost like fate.
Yeah.
Right.
Unsubconsciously, he gave you that name. He ain't even realize. You know.
Right.
Yeah, that was dope. That's cool.
For sure.
Yes. Thank you for that. So we're talking about Kemet and we're identifying how we came into, dedicating ourselves to study, which it is a lifelong study. And how you study is you can apply book knowledge, but it really is continuing to learn yourself. And you must study the ways of the ancient ancestors. So there is a place to start, right? And most of us start. Peace and blessings to the brother Tashaka, to the general for coming
Oh
through.
man, we
Peace and
just spoke
blessings.
him up. We just spoke him
Yes, he
up.
sure did.
Great.
Yes, thank you for giving him that name. It suits him well.
I wonder did he even hear all that? If not, you got to rewind it when it's over, bro.
Possibly. If not, you gotta run it back, brother.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say? Yes. Okay. So we talk about Kemet and how it's improved our lives, but there was a place that we had to start in our studies. And if someone were to ask me where to start, I would tell them a certain thing. But I will ask Brother Heru, where would you suggest someone that has not been privy to any of the teachings? Where would you suggest our brothers and sisters start to educate themselves?
What a question. And I would love to hear your answer too.
Yes, I'm saving it.
You both of you all, I'm very curious because that's a really good question. Wow. I guess I would say it would depend on the individual, like if how much of them I know, and I would try to maybe pinpoint someone from one of the dynasties that maybe I think would align with that person. So say if the question was asked to me by a female who I felt like had a very radical spirit, then I would probably tell her to study Queen. I hope I pronounced this right. Amarines, the one who lost her eye in battle.
Hmm.
Mm.
Yeah, there was a queen. She lost her eye in battle, and she
In
actually,
Kemet,
yeah, in Kemet, Amarines, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but I'll get the exact spelling. But yeah, I would recommend someone like her, and but for most people, I would say, yeah. So Amarines, let me put that in
Um,
the chat.
Amani Renas. Yeah, I'm just
Yeah, maybe that's the correct
Amen.
pronunciation.
Redenet. Hold on, let me
Let me
see.
say this too. One thing about me personally, like learning a lot of this stuff on my own and being
Amani
self-taught,
Renes.
my
Amani
pronunciation
Renes.
for a lot of words aren't always correct.
That's fine. I'll
And
put it in the chat.
yeah, but that's a personal thing that I can work on, especially since we have Google and I can probably just send it in there and they'll pronounce it for me.
Yeah, there you go.
But
You beat me to it.
yeah, but she lost one of her eyes in battle. She was, man, she
Mm.
was vicious. It was the Romans and I want to say Caesar. He sent his people there to take over, and she killed them and chopped the guy head off. And man, she was
She was
vicious.
from Kush and Sudan,
yeah,
right?
For sure, for
yeah.
sure, for sure. And which is all Kemet in a way. That's how I see it. They all
Yes,
together.
we're going to
From
talk
my
about that.
research, the Nubians were the original Cometians. They were the mothers and fathers. That's the way to say it. The Nubians were the mothers and fathers of the Cometians from my research, and that's where they got all their gold at anyway. But yeah, I would recommend her to radical sisters, and to most people, I would most probably recommend starting with the very first dynasty. King Doja, or the Scorpion King as they call him, which is one person. When people ask me the question, they say, man, if you could meet anybody in history, who would it be? And I always say it would be Doja, who is famous for making the first dynasty and unifying Upper and Lower Egypt because they were separate at the time. And I just want to ask him, how did you get all these black people to unite like that?
Mm.
Mm.
How? Because I don't know how he did that. Like,
That
that's the
would
$1 million
be
question.
definitely a question I would ask if I got to meet any of the gods and goddesses, especially Tahuti. because he was able to hold the presidential seat for 16,800 years. A lot of people think that the pyramids are just a few thousand years old. No, 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 no.
Mhm.
One person started to establish Kemet, and that was Tahuti. And he actually uh, was AKA president, or, ruler for 16,000 years. So that gives us some insight into actually how long it takes to establish a civilization. This is not something that just happens overnight.
Right.
For sure. Great point.
I believe the pyramids have been there for no less than, moving more closer to 80,000, 80,000 years, I would say myself.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
very interesting, that whole time line or time lapse that they put us in, um, because literally all of that was done so that a specific group can place themselves in humanity. Because, we say, when how long has the Caucasian race existed? And the lucky number is 6,000 years. So, they don't want to place the pyramids or Africa older than that. So that's why the whole time technology thing exists, because we all know where this planet is older than 2026 years old.
Right. Right.
We know it's older than 2 million too. So, yeah, they actually started back at zero, and it really was supposed to mark the death, I believe, of Jesus Christ, but it was really the resurrection of the Son, which is Heru.
Mm.
You know, it, yeah.
Mm.
No question.
So many different ways to come at one conclusion, but yes, it really is great to have study groups of this information, because
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
we can uncover a lot of knowledge that is still pertinent today. Like, somebody would say, here's a question. We'll all take a stab at answering this. Oh, let me answer one thing first. What would I suggest somebody study if they've never heard anything about ancient Kemet and they're interested? I would start, and I'll put it in the chat, at the 42 laws of Ma'at.
Mm,
I
great
would start
answer.
there,
Yeah.
because that is the blueprint in the set of laws that humanity is to govern itself by.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually the set of laws that your soul gets judged on the scales with the feather. So the
Right.
goddess Ma'at has the feather of Ma'at, in which your soul gets weighed on the scales. So, 42 laws of Ma'at. It's the 10 commandments plus the rest of the laws. And I read them quite often, and some of them are very easy to follow in a day, and some of them are not. So I challenge those who has the time in the morning to take an extra 15 minutes to read them. And I also am stepping to the challenge. I have to create a reminder in my phone to go off in the morning that that's what I need to do. And I find that when I read them, I actually have them in the forefront of my mind. And when things approach me in life, it's easier to weigh them on the scale. You just take and put it on the scale yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So we
Mm-hmm.
have Brother Shaka says Zoser was able to organize and mobilize. Okay, this must be a god, Zoser. Also responsible for the building of the step pyramid. Okay, so
Yeah,
we're
he's
talking
talking
about,
about the same one I was talking about. King Doge, the one who
okay,
unified Upper and Lower Egypt.
yeah, Zoser. We have to look him up.
Yeah. King
He would
Zoser.
share the stories.
He
Let
got a
me
lot
get
of different spellings of his name. It also could be spelled DJ too. Yeah.
DJ. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he was
and
an
he's
eight.
also referred to as the Scorpion King. Sometimes it's so much confusion. Like even the Egyptologists tell you that like they don't agree on it because some people believe that Doja and the Scorpion King are two separate people. Some Egyptologists believe they're the same person. Some
Ah,
Egyptologists say neither one of them really existed. So
Mm,
there's
mm.
like no hardcore real evidence on it. But
I'll check my encyclopedia. If he's in there, he existed.
oh, he in
This
there.
one got
He in there.
everybody. Yeah.
He got to be in there.
We also have to remember that um the Egyptologists, there's certain ones like Judy King, she's pretty good. She wrote the Isis thesis book and Road to Orion, which is very good. Um,
Yeah, I was
but
gonna say I would recommend Dr. Francis Cress Welsing.
oh yes,
Mhm.
yes, yes, yes.
That's the
What I was
legend.
trying to say is we want to go with our Black African um, professors that give us the correct information. In the beginning, we had all of our information given to us by the European Egyptologists, and there is a certain physical connection to the information also that when you read something, you can actually, your emotions will let you know if you're moving toward the truth. Does anybody understand what I'm saying? When
Yeah,
you read something, does it set right with you in your spirit as compared to you
Mhm.
need both of the components, I would say,
yeah,
before you
Mhm.
say, yeah, this is what I think happened. And on top of that, we need to be in the text that we know has the information, like the pyramid text. There, you can't really change that. In the book of spells, which is the book of coming forth by day and night. As Brother Tashaka says, Anthony Browder. Let me see who else.
Oh, and matter of fact, I'm tripping. Like y'all, please
Yeah, I'm
excuse me,
tripping too
y'all.
with the names, but
It's not
let me get it
Doja
for
who
you.
unified. It's King Nama. That's who I meant.
Oh,
Nama, not
Nama.
Doja.
Okay.
Yeah, that's who I meant.
Okay.
I don't know why I got them confused. Doja's later on down the
mm,
line. He
Nama.
did great
Okay.
things too and unified too, but the one who unified up in Lower Egypt is yeah, Nama. I think that's Narmer, and it's like another name they give him too
mm.
sometimes. Let me see if I can look at. I think it's Mendez or King Mendez, but let me see. Mendez.
We have Rosemary Clark is another great writer. We have Rose Francis Cress Welsing. We have Dr. Ben. We have
Would you agree, m- um, Madam Zogbe, who made Mami Wata, that book?
yes. Not sure so
Recommend
much
that
if
book.
it's all ancient Kemet. It probably includes some other African
Yeah,
spiritualities, but if you
yeah.
study the Dogon, you're actually gonna find out that their system was the hieroglyph system. And you
Mm,
will see where, because Kemet is a melting pot, like say New York City, all people from all over Africa came through Kemet, and especially upper and lower, which was Nubia and Kush,
mhm,
you know.
Mhm.
So yeah,
Which would be
they
like
tell a lot
modern
of
day
us when we get
Sudan
the,
today, I think.
right, right. They tell a lot of us when we get the DNA done that we have West African, a lot high percentage of West African, which is Nigerian and all the other countries around there. But that also went into Egypt. So West Africa, yeah, you probably have some Egyptian DNA going on there. Never gonna list it as Egyptian and just come out and straight say you're an Egyptian. African American people, y'all have to learn how to go deeper. It's just not surface like that. There's actually no such thing as an Egyptian because that's in Africa, and you would be from whatever
right.
country or tribe in Africa. right?
Right.
So there's no such thing as being an Egyptian. Number one, uh, glad we got that out the way. Narmer is first dynasty, absolutely. Zoser was third through sixth dynasty.
Right, that's right.
You
Yeah, I
we
apologize. That's
are
my
definitely
apology.
getting ready to move
Exactly,
into. I
exactly.
think I would like to dedicate either Monday or Tuesday nights to Kemet studying. I have some stories I'd like to share and read. So on this podcast on Tuesday, we'll have Kemet School. So
Cool.
tell a friend, tell everybody. We will be studying various things. Um, and on Tuesday, I will present, you know, everything to everybody. I have a vision. So it's going to be a web page and we're going to have things to study through there. That way
Mhm.
everybody can, participate and, you know, we might buy a book or two, but later on, there's so much free information that we will do work with that. So there's no excuse. There's no money. We just need your mind and your body for 1 hour. Can you commit to that?
Right. Right.
It's life-changing information. So I would say the Commission, quote unquote, religion is not your standard type of religion, although it could be because all other religions on the world came from that, you know, and there were versions or episodes created from there to suit whatever nation needed to use it, you know. Um, next question. Next question we have for Brother Heru is, why do you think some African Americans are not deeply interested in Kemetic teachings, while others, some are interested in Kemetic teaching, while others are skeptical or reject them right off the bat? Why do you think that is?
Hmm. Uh well, for one, it's unorthodox, and as I spoke on earlier about, trends and following, how most people are. I talked about this yesterday with some brothers from studying what I do know about history and antiquity. It seems like there's always been a bunch of followers and a small number of leaders. I don't know if this is like human behavior or what, but yeah, it definitely seems that way. So I think that's the first thing, is it's not in, it's not popular, it's unorthodox for some, which pushes them away from it. It's not directly associated as an black or African thing. In the quote unquote conscious community, we know it is at the foundation, or anyone who does their research. But to the average citizen, it definitely looks more like an Arab thing. So I think that pushes people away from it too. And I think what attracts people to it is the symbolism, the mystery, the fact that we find this in a lot of Hollywood depictions, a lot of cartoons. It's all in our culture. Even some of the symbolisms we find on our, currency. So I think that will attract people to it, especially if they don't know much about it. You know, um, a wise person could just see that and they're like, okay, it has to be something with this, because why are they always using it? And even here in Washington D.C., you go look at the monument and you look at the many obelisks that's around the city, and you're like, wow, hold on, why did they copy this from Egypt? I'm interested in this now. I want to know. So I think that that's one of the things that will attract people. That it's everywhere. Can't avoid Egypt or Kemet. You can't avoid it.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
I would say that if people would pay attention every day in society, they could pick out something that goes back to Egypt. Um, I have a personal belief. Um, Ever since okay, so let's just take everything that I've learned on my spiritual journey thus far. I'm going to make this statement with the utmost confidence, and it will not return void. Absolutely. So here we go. This world, not just this nation, I'm speaking about this world, will not know peace, will never know peace until it comes back and puts the ancient Kemetic civilization, religion, way of life, let's just call it the Ma'at goddess. Let's just put her right there at the center of everything. Until this world puts her back on the throne where she belongs and starts to adhere to the laws, this planet shall not know peace. Because a lot may think that these laws were just made for just little ancient Kemet. But no, these laws were made for all of humanity, all that was and all that is to come. Everything that they give this power to that entity they created called Jesus Christ, and they say that his word will not come back void. Okay, they are cosplaying the goddess with that whole entire situation. And there is nobody coming because she is already here and she's never left. I'm gonna dedicate a complete entire show to that. Why this world can never know peace until that is put back in place.
Yeah, I
And once
definitely.
you all read through those 42 laws, you'll understand what I'm saying.
Right,
They speak for themselves.
right. I want to add to that too. That's
Hmm.
what I think that the brainwashing, the brainwashing of Christianity definitely did a number on our people. You know, just being indoctrinated. Is that the word?
Mm-hmm.
Since,
Hmm.
Yep.
since from being like babies, that's all they know. So why would they question? Why would they question their parents? Why would they question their elders about what to what to praise? You know what I mean? And yeah, I think all of the chemicals in the food, the music that we're listening to today, well, that's being pushed on us, has something to do with you know us not, well, not us, but our people not seeking the knowledge. You know what I mean? I think
Yep.
that has something to do with it a lot.
Excellent point, especially about Christianity. The sister kind of touched on it earlier, how they literally start the timeline over at zero.
Yeah.
I there's a church in Virginia, not too far from DC, and every year they have a Egyptian parade or festival, Egyptian festival. And the church is, I think it's like the oldest church in Virginia. Everything inside the church is imported directly from Egypt. And so I went there to the festival one day, and I have all of this on video. Actually, I recorded it with my glasses, and they
Hmm.
that well, I'm in a church, and the guy is giving a tour, and they have this chart. with the timeline. And of course, it starts at zero, which is the birth of Christ, and if I'm not mistaken. And
Mm.
so I asked him a question in front of everybody. I say, how is it that this timeline starts at zero if we have things like ancient Kemet that came before with supporting archaeological evidence like the Abydos Kings list, over 2,000 years of continuous rule. And I said, why that doesn't disappear on there? And the guy had no idea what I was talking about. No idea. And he actually was looking at me like I didn't know what I was talking about until an older European male stepped up and said, "Oh yeah, he's actually right," and he gave a little more insight. But I
Mhm.
thought that was so ironic. Like you don't even realize there's been a whole civilization and thousands of years before you guys even started this timeline. And another thing about the Christianity aspect is epigenetics, which is a recent science that they've discovered of all the things that we pass down in our DNA. One of the main things being trauma. So I bring this up to say that we know that when the our African ancestors were going through the transatlantic slave trade, that we had a lot of our African things beat out of us, right? We have the famous pop culture scene of Kunta Kinte being beat because he refuses to take the name Toby, which is an American name. He wants to hold his African name, which is Kunta. Now, even though we found out that Alex Haley roots was all that wasn't true, but it's still some truth in those stories. So it was some truth in that story.
Mhm.
And what I say is maybe even subconsciously on a DNA or on an epigenetic level, I think some of us are scared of Africa. It's in our DNA. That our ancestors, they beat it out of them. They didn't take it out of them, they hang them. They tie one leg to one horse, one leg to another horse, spank them, make them go the other way. So that's some traumatic stuff. So again, there's no excuse for us
Mhm.
to get away from Africa and Kemet, but I'm just looking at possible reasons of why some of us may avoid it, because deep down inside we probably scared.
Yeah, yeah. Trauma does live on through the generations, unfortunately.
For
Yes,
sure.
because unfortunately, we have been played against one another. They say the African immigrants, when they come here, they're told to stay far away from us.
Right,
And, you
right.
know, we have been conditioned to think that Africans are poor and have, flies on them and all these other different things, images that we were shown, growing up as children about Africa.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Also, there's a lot of Africans that actually don't even know about Kemet.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That was a shocker. And, they've also been heavily colonized the entire continent. I heard at one point you get off the plane, you see white Jesus before you see anybody else.
Gosh.
And so, that was didn't have a good feeling and was like, wow, what is going on in a black continent to where they would embrace a white God?
That, oh
Something
man.
something is going on with their um, leaders.
Yeah,
Why
it's
don't
that.
they look up to their leaders or have their tribal religions? It's been actually beat out of them too, or colonized out of them as well, because they actually live there and can't practice their own. You know, they have been steered away from practicing their own
Mm-hmm.
traditions, which is crazy. I mean, we have an excuse. We've been taken away from our land. We weren't able to read with this, that. We were we had obstacles in our way from learning. But they don't have that excuse. It's just whatever philosophy these people brought to them, they accepted it.
And same for some of us too. Let's not forget that. There's definitely
Yeah,
some black Americans over here who still worshiping white Jesus too.
Oh yeah. Oh
And I'm
yeah.
sure I'm sure it's some in Jamaica.
absolutely.
I'm sure it's some in the UK.
Yes.
all
Now
around this
that
planet.
we have an excuse to say that is a direct thing from colonization, this and that.
Mhm.
Now, where you are today, is that the only way that can happen is if you don't control your own food, housing, and work. You have to settle with what is given to you so that you can survive. That's the story in Africa, you know, why their colonization is happening to them right in on their own land, you know.
Mm, mm.
It's crazy because their leaders are actually working with the colonizer
Yeah.
to take advantage of the people now. So
Same
there's
here
no
though.
excuse
Same
of
here.
them
Yeah.
Same
being
thing here.
strong armed, you know? Yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of people want to run from here and go to Africa, but I say I'd like to be a dual citizen myself.
I
I
would
don't
like
want to have to pick either or. I would like both. I think that's also a birthright too. You can do that.
right. Yeah. Yes,
So
That's
it's
a
all
big
these limitations, man. All these limitations. It shouldn't be.
it's
It shouldn't be.
perspective, you know, a lot of times it's perspective that's building the
exactly.
limitations. But when you study ancient Kemet, you actually, you know, you find out that there are no limitations. The limitation is your way of thinking, you know, and that's part of the studying of knowing ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So we literally got to do a lot of self work before we can even, you know, go there.
Right.
So that would be my advice is to let's start working on ourselves. I'm actually releasing a book of healing, and it's a book of all types of healing. I'm trying to cover all areas where a human would need healing, not a doctor's healing book, but a metaphysician's healing book. And I'm calling it the Bible of Serket.
Mm-hmm.
Serket is
Nice.
one of the most powerfulest goddesses in ancient Kemet's uh, encyclopedia. Let's just say that. Um, but she's pretty much in charge of healing,
Mm-hmm.
you know, on a protective level. So yeah, it has been a life changing opportunity, and when it came to me, it was very interesting because you would think this particular goddess would have had a temple and all these different things because she would actually be one of the first physicians on the planet because she had the power to save from the noxious poisons, which was your scorpion bites, your snake bites, you know, the ones that took your life. And no way can you get to a doctor. You got to have somebody right then and there. And
Mm-hmm.
so that was the power of Serket. Um, and her invocation is she has the power to give breath and take breath. So to me, that's pretty powerful.
Yep.
And then her one in her invocation says to mortals, gods and goddesses alike, her protection lasts forever and ever, even in the afterlife. So that's pretty profound. And she has a scorpion on her head, and I happen to be really connected with her. That was the first goddess because I said there's got to be a scorpion goddess in ancient Kemet, and so here we go. She has taught me a lot, and got a lot to learn too as well. But yeah, that's my patron goddess.
Yeah. That's what's up.
So when you start to study the gods and goddesses, you actually desire to have a spiritual name, you know. And so some people go about it a certain way. Uh, yeah.
Yeah.
So I definitely, since we've been working with each other, for a while, I have always had in the back of my mind, what would your Yami's Kemetic name be? And I definitely have one, and we'll talk about it.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, yeah.
That was in my brain just now. I'm like,
I've got the picture and everything.
okay, cool.
Yeah,
Yami already sounds African in itself too.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Is there a
Yes.
meaning to that name?
Um, Not really. So my husband actually came up with the name because I had an email named Chulita Mommy, and he
Mhm.
just flipped it. He was like, Mommy Bula. I forgot where he got Bula from. He said Mommy Bula, and he said Yami Bula. I'm like, oh, that sounds cool. So
Yeah,
Hmm.
it is a cool name.
stuck.
Definitely got a nice ring to it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't see any Yami, so I'm like, yeah, that's me. I'm gonna take it. I like unique names, so yeah, I'll be that. you
For
know,
sure.
yeah. So yeah, shout out to my husband. He gave me that name. He came up with
Yes,
it.
Yes,
sir. Shout
yes.
out to
Shout out to
him.
King Azur. I'm seeing it in the Japanese language. It means darkness,
Darkness.
darkness in Japanese, but it's also a Indian and Latin name.
Mm.
Yes, and it means attractive person in Latin.
Mm. Mm.
Oh,
Everything comes out the
everything has a meaning.
darkness.
Right. That's a
That's
fact.
right.
Yeah, we
In the dark came the light.
right. Everything
All
came
right.
from darkness.
Let me
Plants.
see.
We came
Next
from darkness in
question.
the womb.
Yep,
Every
the great black hole.
yeah.
Some scientists even have theories that our planet possibly came out of a black hole.
Brother Heru,
Hmm.
how can young people apply, let's say, Kemetic principles to leadership, relationships, or any aspect of their lives?
I think the answer you already touched on early in the 42 laws of Maya. Everything is there. It's already
True.
been mapped out for us. Um,
Yes.
yeah, all you gotta do is if you following those laws, then I would imagine you wouldn't have any issues as a leader.
Right. Absolutely is the best advice that I could think of is to start by learning the 42 laws of Ma'at and actually what they mean. Um, because the goddess Ma'at herself represents justice, reciprocity, uh, which you would call love, truth, balance,
Hmm.
uh, did I say justice? The right and wrong, the whole scales. So that's everything, you know. We could literally weigh all of our actions on a scale, you know, and there's levels to this. That's what I have learned. There are very many levels to life, and the way we react to things is very calculated, but there, as the Bible will give us, and I'm sure they got this from African proverbs,
Hmm.
is there's a time and place for everything under the sun, and there's nothing new under the sun.
Hmm.
So, we can always find advice from the ancients if we so choose. Um, we have to read, you know,
That's the thing.
if we want to learn what society is not teaching us, we have to take it in our own hands to, become our own teachers. Not all the time do you, it's good to be able to sit at a wise one's feet, but it is actually your responsibility for knowing thyself. Someone else can't possibly teach you everything about yourself.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
You know,
Yeah.
these are things we're going to have to, and that takes spending time with yourself,
Yeah.
which is alone, you know, um, a time for yourself
Mm-hmm.
to just regroup and think, whether it's just on an evening walk or so, or whatever,
A little
however
bit of
you
meditation
carve
to be
that
a moment.
time out. Yes.
When you wake up, you have your little time to yourself before the
Yes.
day gets started, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah, so that
Yeah,
do.
I find it really does help that, and you can really shape your day by getting up a little earlier and, let's say, saying some mantras. A mantra is a sentence that you can repeat, like, I am in the image of Ra. I would say Ra is the sun. So if I say, I am, you could go through a whole bunch of I ams. That's like, saying mantras or whatever, aka prayers.
Yeah.
In ancient Kemet, y'all, there are a lot of gods and goddesses, but there's only, you have what we would call the Most High, and that is Inter. The name is Inter. Salute, Wayno. Peace. Thanks for coming through.
Yeah, space Wayno.
Inter would be the name a Kemetic person would call the Most High.
Mm-hmm.
Um, for instance, let's talk about the sun. Hey, Rue, what is your understanding of the sun's gender?
I think you're muted.
Oh, my bad, my bad, my bad. I had muted because the city is starting the fireworks already. I didn't know if y'all
Oh,
can
wow.
hear it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Were
I
y'all
didn't.
able to hear that?
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Nah, I
Oh,
can't hear
okay, okay,
anything.
good, good. Yeah. But the from my understanding of the sun, it would be a masculine principle, a male principle, because it um pushes outward and yeah, it gives us, it literally sustains our life. I mean, even when I'm texting and I'm referring to someone's son, I always spell it SUN instead of SON.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they did. You know, words are spells. They say, watch what you say. You always speak positivity on yourself and others. You know, you don't want to speak any negativity because it will become true. You
For
know?
sure. Your words create your reality.
Yeah.
That's what they say.
Yes.
The censuses we use census us into the life that we live in.
Yep.
Yeah. And all this is in the 42 laws of Maya. I'm just quickly glancing over it again, and I'm just like, it's
Mm-hmm.
giving me a little bit of chills because it's like, man, these people, man, they had it all figured out. They laid it all out for us. Like, how can you look at like you don't have to have no question about how to live a righteous life. All you gotta do is look at them 42 laws, and you could be like, man, if I follow these, I ain't saying it's easy. But it's like, man, if I follow these, what else more is there? It's like they cover all T's, cross all T's, dotted all I's.
So we have the sun, right? Okay, the sun is Ra. We call him Ra, is the name. He
Mm-hmm.
has other names besides that also. And yes, um, Ra is the main name, but there's aspects, right? So in Egyptian cosmology, I'll say represents Sekhmet. Sekhmet is the lion headed goddess, right? She
Mm-hmm.
represents destructive heat, fire, and fury, and the fury of the sun. Unlike other solar deities, so she's a solar deity. So we have the sun, but you also have deities of the sun. Okay. Now I'm going to say my studies are moving towards the sun being like a portal. in which these aspects are born, right? Because we have these flares, X class, M class types of sun flares. And if you've ever seen them, the sun kind of like spews off some
Mhm.
plasma,
Coronal mass ejections.
right? Plasma, which is plasma, plasma is what makes people like DNA,
Mm-hmm.
um, deities.
It's in the blood.
Yes, plasma is, yeah, the most important part of the blood. So that, when it's spewed off of the sun, could manifest into whatever the sun would have it manifest into. But that is the story of a lot of how the gods and goddesses came through. Serket was called forth out of the sun. Anytime you see her, she's golden. She is the sun,
She
right?
usually has a sun disk behind her head too, right?
Right. She's also made to be golden, just like the sun. Like her whole body is. She's called the shining one, right? So the sun has aspects. Now, Sekhmet is one of the closest aspects, and in some writings, it speaks of her as the sun. So it's Ra, and she's called Ra'et, right? Sekhmet is the embodiment of the sun at its most dangerous and scorching time. So we're in the time of Sekhmet right now. Only Sekhmet energy will engulf the earth in that type of heat. So whenever Sekhmet is loosed to do her work, it is because the embodiment of the earth, the inhabitants of the earth, are not in alignment with Ma'at, which is why this is a lot of fatalities in this time. The daughter, let's look at this little story. The daughter and weapon of Ra. Right. Sekhmet is actually Ra's weapon. He unleashes Sekhmet when humanity is not in alignment. But she is bloodthirsty and ravishing. There will be no she's coming to get whatever she's supposed to have. Right? So that results in people getting out of here. Sekhmet is famously known as the daughter of Ra, the primary sun god. Right? She was literally created from the fire of Ra's eye when he looked down upon the earth in anger, because she represents his direct willpower and fury. Her breath was believed to have created the hot winds of the desert. See how hot that air is out there? The Eye of Ra, Sekhmet, is one of the primary goddesses to hold the title, the Eye of Ra. The Eye of Ra functions as an independent extension of the self entity that the sun god used as a weapon to destroy his enemies. In her most famous story, The Destruction of Mankind, Ra sent Sekhmet to Earth to punish humanity for rebelling against the gods. Her bloodlust was so intense that Ra eventually had to trick her into drinking dyed red beer to save humanity from extinction.
Wow.
So the sun is very feminine, or its children are mainly a lot of the goddesses. Their story is Sekhmet was spewed out of the eye of the sun. She does wear the sun disk. They all wear the sun disk, actually. But that is like the stories of their beginnings is through the sun. Now, imagine teaching this to someone who can't fathom it, because it sounds real good that in the beginning they was in this garden and it was Adam and Eve and and this and that, rather than to hear a story of Sekhmet. Well, they created hell to scare the people into doing correct. To me, they could have actually kept the story of Sekhmet, you know, because right there in Egypt right now, she has a temple. There are still people going there today feeling the power of Sekhmet. Everybody knows that she's not a myth. This is actually a solar deity. So now we're in the time where we can actually say, yes, solar deities exist. This is not a myth. These deities are still in control of planetary actions. As you can see, no one can escape this heat. These things are real. So we go back to humanity will not know peace until you put these teachings back on Front Street. What teachings came out of Kemet? Chemistry, science, biology, psychology,
or mathematics,
physiology, math, medicine, all kinds, all aspects of the thought of medicine came from ancient Kemet. All sciences, architecture, how to grow food, agriculture, everything we know, how to write. What was the first written, where did the first scroll come from? Where did the first piece of paper? Where did the pen come from? Where did the hieroglyphs come from? Name something else. Just name anything. I'll tell you where it originated in Kemet. Out there in the chat, just throw anything out. I'll tell you where it originated in Kemet. So on that level, when you find out that you've been lied to on every single aspect of life on this planet, including who the God, all the way down to who the God of this planet is, I would say it would be the one that if you turn it off, you cannot live. Peace, knowledge born. Thanks for coming through. Peace to the God.
Peace.
Peace,
No
brother.
one on this planet can live without the sun. Brother Knowledge says, Sekhmet is the Kemetic principle of controlled power. She's not simply a goddess of war. She represents the intelligent force that protects order, removes corruption, yes, and restores balance. That's also part of Ma'at's job. Yes. Sekhmet is also the wounded healer. Those of us that do Reiki, any kind of healing, we know that consists of a heat. Your body has to be able to generate a certain amount of heat. That is the healing of the hands and Reiki and different things like that. Those that are blessed with that power is controlling heat, and that's how they can heal also. Sound heals and all that, but Sekhmet pretty much deals with fire and heat. But yes, she's also a healer. And if you look at most of the principles behind all of the gods and goddesses, well, mainly the goddesses, they are nurturers, nanny goddesses, and healers, but they all have an aspect of protection. Absolutely. So they always have their aspect of giving life, regulating it to the point where they could take it if they desired. Most of the goddesses have that aspect. Absolutely.
We could use Sekhmet right now. I swear we could.
Sekhmet is in effect right now. Yeah. I would say when the heat creates so much exhaustion that the next thing you know, you're in the afterlife, I would definitely say that the Sekhmet power is in effect there.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah, I would say that. I would say that. Look how many people in Europe have passed away from the heat.
it's yeah, it's coming everywhere, but it definitely is it affects the heart. This is the energy that affects the heart. You
Mm-hmm.
know, if the heart is in a good place, maybe it'll survive the heat, you know. But there if you would look at the statistics, you'd see that in this past week and a half or so, there's been more deaths than in a regular period of time. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. There's no doubt that this is something spiritual. If you know nothing about Kemet, if you know nothing about anything spiritual, you still would start thinking now. You know what I mean? With the state of everything that's happening in the world. If nothing else, it should make us think about um, our soul, our life, number one. So we have this Young Miami song or whatever, and literally it's just a distraction, because when your mind is focused on, let's just say, for instance, the teachings of ancient Kemet, you understand right away why that song is detrimental to a young mind. You know, even if you never heard of Kemet, if you understand the English language and you hear the lyrics, then you would say, I don't prefer my children to apply that song to their lives. You
Mm-hmm.
know, we literally got, okay, we literally have to stop playing. No, seriously.
We do.
We got to stop playing, right? And that means that we are the example. So when I hear the song, I got to cut it. I got to be an example. I can't live in dysfunction. I don't care if it's a catchy song. I had to catch myself from doing the little sway, and I have to come back. No, I'm representing something. If I say I'm something, I better be caught doing that if that's what I'm saying. Because, right, me fronting for somebody else, at the end of the day, it is what it is. But me fronting to myself is worse. You know, that means I'm out of alignment. I'm out of balance with my art. Let's just keep it a buck. That is who you would be comparing your actions to. What do they walk around and say, I'm not acting like Tahuti, I'm not acting like Offset, or I'm not following the rules that uh any of the gods and goddesses gave us? No, we gotta put ourselves up against that 42. I mean, let's just keep it a buck.
Mm-hmm.
That is the doctrine for the world. Anybody that has something in their hand called a book, and you're saying that that's your religion, then that means you got a set of laws that you have to put your life up against, or that you should measure yourself up against, right? Every religion got their set of laws. Christianity has the 10. Islam got mad laws. It's a lot.
It's a lot. They have a
It's a
lot.
lot in it's a lot in Judaism also. But it started out with those. If we can just do those 42 according to the formula, then you can move into paradise.
See, with that, people are looking for paradise right now. They're looking for the paradise on earth right now. So that's why certain people choose to deal with these Zionists to to get money and to get in front of these people and to push agendas. I think that's why most of our people are, they're just like, they're far and gone.
Yeah.
It's hard to try to convince someone to change their outlook of life or any type of spirituality. You can't really tell people to read because don't nobody want to read anymore, unfortunately.
Hmm.
It's all about telephones and social media. you know that's why I appreciate social media, because we make these posts and they put the information out there, and it's cool and all, but people will definitely just scroll like, nah, I ain't listening to that, I'm not listening to that. It's unfortunate, but I know that the chosen ones will definitely take heed to the information that's being, put in front of them. You know,
Peace, brother Gerald. Thanks for coming through.
Peace,
Peace to the
peace,
God.
peace, brother Jer.
Brother Knowledge says that's true. If your heart is good, you will survive because the star in the sky, the sun, belong to you, the children of the sun. Absolutely.
Mhm.
And
Yes, sir.
a lot of children of the sun won't make it, and it's because there's a lot of work that needs to be done. Because some of these see, life happens so that you can observe it and kind of measure what your moves are going to be. You understand? Our people right now need to be looking around themselves, right? I could be sitting here and I can do a 360 and look all around the world in here. When you're in tune with what's going on, it's time to start making some long term and short term decisions. You know, like, are there any investments that I could get into that I know I can help my family with, for us to, for the future? See, we got to stop being selfish. That's the thing. Um, Life insurance. A lot of our people think life insurance is important because the life insurance is for others. It's for yourself to make sure you have a decent burial, but it's also for your family.
it's
And
definitely
a lot of people ain't trying to put their family on in their passing. They want to leave a burden, or they want to, they're just not thinking about it. But see, in ancient Kemet, the teaching, oh, that's another science. We would not have no funerary science. Y'all would not know how to properly dispose of a body or what have you. The down to the embalming, uh, every single thing it has to do with the funerary science came from ancient Kemet. This world needs to acknowledge every single thing that they received from this civilization and stop treating its people like shit. I don't know about anybody else, but it's very basic to me what the problem is. Until the children of the sun are respected on this planet, everybody ass is finished.
Can
Sorry
can I
to
can
say.
I can I interject on that subject really quick? I want to give another aspect of that.
Right ahead.
It takes two to tango.
Absolutely. Yeah, we got
So
some changes for sure. Absolutely. But overall, we're speaking about, like, we're not the one blocking the sun. We're not the ones tainting the water. We're not the ones messing with food. We're not the ones eating children.
yeah, but
You understand?
we the ones who allow it and participate in the system. So we have a choice. And see, this concept I hear on so many aspects um within the black community. and I'm usually the one voice who has a very different view on this that a lot of times people don't want to hear, but it's the real. And like I said, it takes two to tango. So we do a lot of blame placing. And I'm not saying that the white man don't have blame, but what I'm saying is the white man going white man, right? And so when you know what you're dealing with, and if you still expecting them to move differently, then like in that case, that individual who has that expectation, in my view, is the problem.
Mm,
Because you had to make moves to counteract this. So you gave examples like blocking the sun. Well, I'm gonna leave that one alone because that hasn't happened yet. But we'll say tainting the water, right? So there's no sign or no gun to no one's head that says they have to drink that water. At the end of the day, that's the white man's water. That's his pipes. He built those pipes. He created this water system. Maybe he did get the concept from us, but the fact of the matter is that's his water, right? So if we don't like what he puts in his water, we had two options the way I see it. Option one, we don't drink the water. Option two, we create our own water system. But what I see with a lot of our people is we like to choose option three. We'll drink the water and then complain that the white man tainted the water.
mm,
And for me, that's like, where's the solution in that? That it's like the only solution in that aspect is waiting for the white man to clean the water and give us clean water. And from my perspective, that's never going to happen.
mm,
So the best choice is don't drink the water or make your own water. But then that requires a certain level of accountability, and it requires a certain level of work. And I just think that most of us don't want to do that. So it's easier to just point the finger. It reminds me of the great scene in the movie Scarface, where he's like, they the bad guy. Somebody got to be the bad guys. Like that's the concept we had even in the movies. Like since a child, we're trained. Like there's always a villain, there's always a superhero, and there's always a villain. But what I come to realize is the biggest villain is the person in the mirror. That's the biggest battle. Yeah, we got to battle with all of these other people who occupying our land, but the battle starts internally first. Like that's the most important work. And at the end of the day, a wise man once told me, I'm gonna end it here, that and he said, man, bro, in every situation you in, even if somebody else wrong, you need to look at what you can do better. And I asked him, I said, bro, that don't make sense to me. Like, because if somebody else wronged me, why am I looking at what I could do better? And he said, and this woke me up. He said, because you the only person who you can control in that situation. I said, damn, you're right.
yeah.
Very true. That's very true.
Mhm.
Especially on a personal level, right? But what we're dealing with here is, for example, Black Wall Street, uh, the burning of whatever have you, the destruction of what you have created on these lands. You got your unity, you got your people in place, you got your savings, your growing stuff, and you got your water situated now. Boom. That's what happens every single time we're doing our thing. It comes and destroys it. So we're going to have to add that to what we have to do in our solutions. And I know that's a big one, and we probably
Where
won't get
was Black Wall Street located?
right now,
Oh,
but it's,
all over,
it's
right?
what we have to start thinking about,
Well,
because
no,
we
there
can
was
build
one
and build and
specific
build,
Black
right?
Wall Street
I
We
think
build
that was
and build.
Tulsa, Oklahoma.
for sure. Yeah, I
That's
know
that
exactly where it
too.
was, but I'm asking this question
That
for a
too.
reason. So
Or the
Uh,
whole Juneteenth thing,
Black
being
Wall,
free but not knowing it. Like we all know that. Don't forget the bombing of that project building in New York City that time.
Oh no, that was
Anytime, yeah,
that
that was
was
for a certain reason, but we're talking about
that was Philly. That
okay,
bombing.
we're talking about period, right? Y'all understand that every time we can unite and we can do this and we can do this, that, and the other. What do? They've plotted on every black leader. Every black leader, when he gets to really start getting good in what he's doing, here they come.
See, I think
We're
that
talking about America now, so we got to take our thinking to another level.
yeah, we need to upgrade our strategies because we already know they don't change their rule book, their
Right, their
playbook.
routine. Right.
They always do the same thing over and over and over again. So if we already know their playbook, we have to come up with our
Exactly.
own strategies to combat that so it doesn't ever happen again. And we got
Exactly.
to just eliminate them like order like off the this realm. You understand what I'm saying? Like we already know, we've seen it time and time again. So as long as we can come together and plan and strategize and have everything in motion the way it's supposed to be, when they do come, we could kick their asses.
And then the forces of these gods and goddesses are still available. Okay? We got to get it. We got to get our minds to where we can start to get into that realm. Okay? And it's called Kemetic ascension, Kemetic meditation. Some of us call it magic. But we're going to have to get back into our ways as gods and goddesses because we have power that we do not know we have. So
And
we
they're
got
always
to
trying
get
to
busy.
yeah, they're always trying to dilute that. They don't want us to know our true selves because once we know that, then everything will crumble for them. They'll just be like,
Heck,
what do I
exactly.
do now?
We
All
have
right,
to
Yeah.
get back
let me
number one,
respond
we
to
got to
this
get
now.
back into our own teachings.
Yes. Go ahead, brother.
Okay, so as I was trying to say about Black Wall Street, there were many black towns similar to Black Wall Street, but there was only one that got that actual name Black Wall Street, which was in Tulsa, Oklahoma. As you said, I asked that question for a specific reason because I was trying to make a point that specifically was on the streets of Greenwood, Archer, and Pine. But I had asked that question at that particular time as a response to the point that the sister was making. She said, we had our own water, we had our, which I disagree with that part, but I get your drift. We had our own town, our own banks, et cetera, et cetera. So my response to that was, where was Black Wall Street located? And I was looking for the answer, Tulsa, Oklahoma, and which I was going to give the response that that's my point right there. Tulsa, Oklahoma, it belongs to what country? The United States of America.
Mm.
Who owns the United States of America? The Europeans. So we had a piece of our own within their shit. At the end of the day, it's still theirs. Now, I'm not getting into the argument about who was here first, et cetera, who the land technically belongs to. That's not what I'm discussing. I'm saying or who the land rightfully belongs to is not what I'm discussing. I'm discussing who the land technically belongs to. And the land technically belongs to the European, or as we refer to sometimes as the white man. So if the white man decides that he wants to drop bombs on Tulsa, Oklahoma, is it the right thing to do morally? No. It's fucked up. It's wrong morally. But what I'm saying is, in a way, it's their right because they control that land, right? So once again, I foresee it as pointing the finger instead of taking accountability and figuring out what can we have done better, right? So what could Black Wall Street have done better? Maybe have some form of protection, maybe some defense system, maybe separate on the land that they can control and make their own laws. But again, if we know what we're dealing with, and here's another aspect of it, and this one's really important here. If we claim to be gods and goddesses, or descendants of gods and goddesses, on one hand, some people make this claim, and then on another hand, they'll make the same claim that the white man is not a full human being, that they are genetically engineered race that has only existed for a couple of thousand years on this planet. So you have that in one hand, and then you have supposed gods and goddesses on the other hand. But then when you listen to people talk, sometimes they give all the power to this race that's supposedly only been here for 6,000 years. And the way I see it is like, how can something that's less than a human being have so much power over a god and goddess? So that's why for me, it starts with self. That's where the battle starts at, in the mirror with the god or the goddess that is you, not the white man. The white man is just a vessel, an aspect of our lower self. Even the Nation of Islam preaches that. And I ain't saying this is an absolute, but what I'm saying is this is some of the concepts that are taught, that the white man is the lowest of us. So it's like, is it a test? Is it, because if it is, a lot of us not passing it. And again, we got to take some type of accountability, because we can only control us, and to expect them to make a change, especially without no type of incentive to make the change, is, I just don't see it happening. But what I can see happening is us making a personal change and becoming the best of us that we can be. Even if we just follow those 42 laws, right? How much power then does he have over us? But see, a lot of us, we're trapped in his system. Even if you listen to us a lot of times when we discuss our problems, a lot of times the answer is always surrounded by the white man, whether it's his money, right, or whether it's something that we need him to do. And and man, I just don't yeah. And brother Wayne, I that's why I addressed that, because I knew there was going to be a comment like that. So if you heard me when I started this, I gave the context that I'm not discussing who the land, you know technically belongs to, right? We know it don't belong to him. He'll tell us that himself. That's why they having a 250-year anniversary of America tomorrow, because they'll tell you themselves they took this place then from someone else that's known. But at the end of the day, they got it right now. And nobody gonna get it back by saying, oh, this was mine first, I was here first. It don't work like that. It does not work like that. So it sounds good and it may even be the truth, but it's not going to get you nowhere in this country dealing with these people. What's going to get you somewhere is knowledge, and applying the knowledge and being the best you can be. So like, that's what me personally, what I try to focus on, and it works for me. And I feel free, because again, as I said earlier, the only thing you require in this life: sunlight, air, water, nutrition, possibly shelter. Besides the shelter, the white man can't control none of that other stuff unless we allow him to. Because technically, you could go out here and get your own nutrition, plant your own nutrition. But instead of doing that, most of us are complaining about what the white man putting in the grocery stores, when that's not a human requirement, is to eat out the grocery store. But is it that we're too lazy? We're too conditioned? We're conditioned because this is how the white man taught us. You want to eat, you go to the grocery store. But at the end of the day, he owned that grocery store. He owned, damn, if you talking about Monsanto's, he even owned the seeds of some of the stuff that's going in the grocery store. So again, we rather complain about what's in the grocery store, which we don't own and have no control over, than go out there and learn how to grow our own food and shit. And that, And also too, I'm gonna end on this part. I know part of it too is like it makes us feel good to get some of this shit out. It's a lot of rage built inside. They done did us dirty. So it feel good sometimes to talk about how dirty they done did us and how bad it is and what they need to do. But again, if you logically look at it, how far is that going to get us? And we've been doing that for a long, long time. So and that's not God and goddess behavior.
Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah, I agree. I agree. We have spoke about this a few episodes back. Living off the grid. That's one way of doing it. You build your own house. You have your own garden to eat from. You create your own electrical grid for your house. Everything you built on your own. They have communities like that. Like and I think what is it, Arizona?
Mm-hmm.
We watched a video on it. Right? Remember, Tanya?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they have a
Yes.
nice community of living off the grid and not having to answer to you know them.
For sure.
You
The
know.
thing is, whoever the people that started the groups or whatever, they have a certain perspective and a certain understanding about themselves as being humans. Now, yeah, they're going to live off the grid. They're going to do everything that they need to do.
Mhm.
Again, I'm speaking past that. I'm speaking to the point where everyone has gotten everything organized and things are moving in action. Things are moving in, you know, we're moving and grooving. We're shaking over here. It's black love. Our kids ain't fighting no more. They're not killing each other no more. Or but let's not say no more, but it's down to 90%, you know, on the good end. And things is all working out. We're starting to not spend money on their culture and the different things that they throw at us. And we're getting our shit together. Let's just move to that point. We also have to get together, training our young men. We're going to have some sort of group. Now they have these groups they call the FOI, the this, the that, but we are all going to have to take our own protection into our own hands also. Because what we would have to realize at the end of the day, they're not just going to want to see us at peace. There's going to be a fight, y'all.
Of course, that's all they
I
live.
know, I understand knowing thyself, and we're going to know ourselves to the very bitter end. And if you know yourself to that point, you also know that it's going to come to that time. And so let's just factor that into the discussion,
Mhm.
because we understand what we're dealing with. We call it a beast, a Neanderthal. There's a question: can the devil be reformed? You tell me.
No.
As brothers and sisters, yeah, and in ancient Kemet, they definitely had that department. They definitely had the kick ass department, which consisted of the young men. Yeah, the young men. I don't know if they let the girls come in, but they got some kick ass girls too, women.
Mhm.
But
Yeah, we both have to hold it
we're going to
down.
have that department.
Yeah.
No question, but we got to
And
do
that's
it
where
logically too,
things
because
get
the Egyptians weren't battling people who had nuclear arms
right.
either, in tanks and
Exactly.
a mass military. So the playing field has changed. But let me address this other comment by Wayne. Though he says it doesn't work co-signing it, which is kind of a non sequitur because I didn't co-sign it. And he said either a person believes falsehoods that's on a person. I live on facts, not what it is now. Well, I don't know if you maybe have a different definition of facts than the one that's found in Webster's, because you spelled it with a Z, so maybe you're referring to something different. But if you referring to, the facts that's used in academia, then it has to have archaeological, anthropological evidence to support it. And the evidence shows right now that what I said is the fact, because they own this country. That's the fact. There's no way around it. So I don't know if you're implying that the fact is that they didn't have this land first. That is a fact, but you're not going to be able to walk in no place in this country or on this planet just with that information and think
You gotta
something's
have
going to
evidence.
change.
Yeah.
Like, it don't work like that. Like, so you,
So, like, we sitting there and we're building or whatever, and somebody spews out some sort of falsehood. We got to check that right then and there. I mean, even though what a person believes is what a person believes, if it's untrue, our duty would be to, it's kind of you to make a decision, but I would have to say something, and I think that might be the beginning of working with our people, because we have to. I mean, we can't just educate ourselves and walk in the way and have everything that we supposed to have. Part of that is, you know, because the dysfunction can definitely come back into your world. So I think that us, each one teach one, we have to still be on that and not be afraid to say, yo, brother, what you saying right there is not, there's another way, blah, blah, blah. However we disperse the information. And we got to take people on their own level, which I haven't found much difficulty there. I haven't found much difficulty there, because I use myself as an example when I'm talking to other people.
Do you think that it will be like people's egos will get in the way? I mean, like black people, we have.
Sometimes it does. Sometimes it does. Sometimes when I'm telling somebody what it is or whatever, sometimes I have to step up on the throne. And if you want to take it there, we can take it there, but I'm not backing up off this truth. And most times, I don't know what it is, most times that shows people like, oh, yeah, wow, no. Okay. She's standing on that one. Or I don't fight about religion, that this and that is what they say or whatever. But you're not. You're defending the truth. And may the best one win. May the truth, well, not may the truth, but the truth will prevail.
yeah, that's
Most
personal
times
truths, and
people
then
go
there's
through something and they come back and say, you know what you're saying? I just went through that. That's how this thing goes. If you don't believe me, you're going to figure it out. It's going to come to you some kind of way. Hopefully you're not falling in a ditch, because that's why we're teaching each other. We don't want to see each other have a hard way. We have to be teachable, and then we have to know how to approach people as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because there is a way. And we just have to just remember when we was not in the knowledge, remember when we was ignorant at a time. And then it's not that hard to work with others, because we really do have a portion that the dysfunction is crazy. We're not going to get to everybody, but there's still hope.
Yeah.
I just really feel that there's hope for our people, because they're waking up. The sun is doing its job, and all we got to do is reaffirm our downloads. Just reaffirm what we already know, and let Ra do his job. Because when they don't come into the knowledge, asses have to burn, and that's how you learn. You understand? And that happens in experiences. It's like me raising my kids. If you don't listen to me, you still gonna learn that lesson. I'm trying to save you by talking to you about it. And through the years, they have come and said, now when I say something, they listen because they've actually seen it come to pass for them, you know?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, that was a great point about the ego, sister, that you brought up earlier. Yeah, I definitely think that that's going to be in a way with a lot of us. Yeah, the ego usually comes, especially if your ego comes before the rational thought, then it's definitely a problem. And I see this with most of our people. The ego shows its face before the logic does.
Mm,
Um, even at the statement I just made earlier about we claim to be gods and goddesses, and we claim that the white man is lesser, but then we verbally give the white man all the power over us. Um, a wise person would take a second and think, use logic there. I know initially the ego would take over a statement like that your ego would come. That would be the initial feeling, right? But again, the wise thing to do would be suppress that ego and take a second and think logically. Let me break down what this brother said. Is this
mhm,
correct or is it not? Let me see if I could pause my emotions. See, that's the thing about it too, is the emotions. There's a time and a place for emotions, but when there's data available, when there's logic available, then one should pause the emotions and think and say, is what this brother saying is correct? Okay, this makes sense. I may not like it. It may make me feel some type of way inside emotionally because it's kind of like combating what I'm preaching, right? But it's okay because life is a journey and we all had to learn, right? So it's
yeah.
okay sometimes to be wrong. It's okay to see that maybe your perspective was a little skewed. It doesn't make one better than the other. But
Right.
but but what becomes not okay is when the ego and the emotions rise, especially when we dealing with men. I spoke yesterday on a podcast a lot about the hormonal imbalance, the diet, things like that, which that's a logical explanation why a lot of men operate this way nowadays. But I'm just pointing it out in hopes that we improve. And see, when a brother like me, when I say things that's unorthodox, that goes against the grain, it's in hopes that my people will improve. But because of the state of most of my people, when I do this a lot of times, um, I become the martyr almost, like, and I'm prepared for that. I'm comfortable with my role. I'm comfortable with myself. I know thyself, as we discussed in the beginning. This is an aspect I know about myself. Maybe this is part of why I is in my name also, because I can see some of these things that sometimes I notice some of my people miss. And so I point these things out of love and out of need for ascension. We must rise. Some of these things we've been doing for a long time. We've been getting the same results. So something new has to be done. New concepts has to be introduced. We
Mhm.
must elevate. I come from the world of electronics and computers. Um, and this, I think this has helped me a lot with this concept because computers are always changing, things are always upgrading. You can't stay stuck on the same shit. You may have known how to work Photoshop 5.0, but right now we on Photoshop 2026. They don't
Yeah.
even go off the numbers no more. So you have to adjust. You got to constantly keep up, especially now with this AI is changing all the time.
All the
So and I think too, like with growing up, a lot of my peers who and I mean this in the most respectful way out of love, who I surpassed, I think this is one of the main concepts because I know how to put my ego aside. I know how to pause my emotions. And sometimes, like, even if I'm in a room with people and it's a subject, like, let's say I'm in a room with people and we discussing music, a certain aspect of music, and I may have technically obtained more knowledge than them, but I know how sometimes if they speaking of something I don't know, how to be quiet, listen, and learn from that and take something. And now I'm gonna apply that to myself, and now I'm even better. But see, sometimes people can't do that because that ego and that pride in the way. So it's like they be like, "Shit, I've been doing this shit longer than you. Who this nigga think he is?" Telling me this, like, and whole time you may not even know that you may have more knowledge overall on the subject, but this particular part of music you don't, and so it's like, see, I'm able to do that, and then I take that and I grow. But I watched some of my peers and they couldn't do that, and they never grew, and they got stuck in the same place. And it's like now we looking, I done surpassed the shit out you, bro. Like, and this is why, because your ego and your
Mhm.
emotions is too high. It won't allow you to open up and use some logic.
Right. Yeah, I can agree with that. I wanted to touch on that the ego. Like I heard of ego death. So
Mm-hmm.
when
Yep.
you're on your spiritual journey,
Yep.
you have to go through ego death,
Yep.
right? Yeah. And it's something else. Damn it, I just forgot it.
Mushrooms help with that too.
Oh, I heard that too. I heard that.
No, they really do. They really do.
I don't mess with no mushrooms. And
Yeah, it's
also,
not for everybody.
yeah, no. Also to add on to what you were saying, we have to remain childlike and always keep learning. You know what I mean? Just have that childlike view on everything and not be like, oh yeah, I know this or whatever. I went to college, I did this, I did that, I already know how to do it. But like you said, everything is always upgrading and changing. And once you have that childlike view of, oh yeah, oh I don't know this. What tell me some more about it. You know
Exactly.
what I'm
Well
saying? If
put.
you just keep
Well
yourself
said.
open, it's just like, yeah, you take in everything and you change your whole mindset, like this. Yeah,
No,
it's
that was so real.
it's dope. Yeah.
Especially the childlike thing that resonates so much because that's how I be. Like I be excited about stuff. Like I'm like a little child in some aspects. Like I want to learn. And again, my key of pushing on this is like I do this at times where I may really had the most information on this particular subject in the room, but sometimes nobody in the room even know that because I'm so busy being a student,
Mhm.
and they
Mhm.
don't even know until they really get to know me. And then it's like, damn, bruh, you ain't even say nothing, and
Right.
you
And then when
already know all this.
you say something, you be like, oh yeah, such and such, and whoop de whoop. Why you ain't say this earlier? But then, like you said, you taking in everything, and you're not letting your emotions cloud the room. And then it's just, people coming together and building on this one great thing that you're trying to manifest something else. Yeah, that's a really dope thing.
No
It's just,
question.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it really is. You know,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Okay, let me see. I got one more question for Brother Heru. Let me see. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
give me, give us, share with us one story or myth about Kemet that you would like to correct.
Hmm. Good question. Um, I would like to correct the myth that Kemet was one particular race. Um, I see this argument a lot of times between blacks and Arabs, and Europeans get involved sometimes too. And this doesn't go for all blacks and Arabs and all Europeans, but some that I've seen where it's like one side's like, nah, they're only black. One side's like, nah, they're only Arab, and it's like from my research, that's not true. The foundation was only black, right? But Kemet lasted for so long. So it's almost like, bro, both of y'all right. That's what y'all not understanding. Y'all sitting here arguing with each other, saying, "Oh, my people was in that land," and then y'all saying, "Oh, no, my people was in that land." And it's like sometimes I just want to come through and put my hands on both of they and say, "Bro, it's all right, y'all. Both of y'all right. Both of y'all right." Now, his people may be the foundation, but your people was in Egypt too. Like y'all may have got it through conquering, but technically y'all was there too. So I think that's the biggest misconception that I would like to clear up. That yes, that land known today as Egypt and sometimes called Kemet, or correctly called Kemet, was occupied by various races, from Africans to Greeks to Romans to Arabs.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. There were 28 dynasties. So, of course, um, absolutely. Even when we go back to the beginning in ancient Kemet, there are all shades of African in Africa. So you could be very light skinned, you could have different color eyes, all of that. You have all those different kinds of prototypes in, say, Nigeria, Ethiopia, um, mainly Nigeria and like South Africa. But yeah, we come in all shades, shapes, all type of things, because it would be great if when we seen on the temple walls and we saw one of the very fair skinned images or whatever, it would be great to say that, oh, they were Caucasian or whatever. But when the Greeks and everybody came through, all the temple stuff was already done. The etchings or the tomb of Tahuti or whatever, that stuff was there for thousands of years. They just came through. So those images was already there. But some people think African, you got to be dark skin or our color or whatever. But no, the colors vary.
Yeah, from
More so.
really, really, really,
And
really
then we got to keep it to what the books say,
albino.
because everything is in the books. All we got to do is study the books. They
Well, I
tell
was
us
more
about
referring to
colors. They
racist
tell us why
instead of
somebody's
shades of
green. They
black.
tell us why somebody's painted black. They tell us why those colors are like that.
Yeah, I was referring to different races, not the shades of black, because all those would still be considered African. But like since you said earlier
But
that
that,
people should correct things, I'm gonna correct something you said. So the Greeks actually did build temples too in Egypt during the Ptolemy period.
right.
They did,
Yeah, that's true.
build some temples too.
But by then, they could actually put the different shades. That's why I keep saying ancient teachings. That's what I mean, ancient. We need to stick with the basics until the people get into all of that. I don't know. I just figure when I'm talking about it, that's the route that I take. There's so
For
many
sure.
different, every time you meet a teacher, they have their own style and they got their own knowledge too. And it depends on where we all getting the knowledge from. But the main thing is we have something to study. We need to get to studying it because time is winding up. I get it that everybody have their own pace and this and that, but there's going to come a time that your own pace is not going to matter. Your own pace is now. It's egos. Let's talk about egos. Egos can create obstacles for us when we become selfish. Egos are a very big part of who we are. What we got to do is nurture it. And like Heru said, you have to control it, not let it control you. That's one of the biggest feats of mastery of being born on this planet. That's one of the biggest things we all got to do. Not get rid of it, not be ashamed of it, and not always picking on it, because we all have to have, we are our ego. That is who we are. How we train it and use it, that's another thing. So a lot of stuff that, we're taught to be selfless, that is a thought. That's a process. You can only become selfless when you have shown love to yourself. Right?
Mm-hmm.
They used to tell
Great
us
point.
that if we was in an emergency and everybody was starving and the mother had her child and she had one sandwich, is she to starve and feed the child with the sandwich? Each of y'all answer that question in your own thought pattern.
All right, brother, you go
What
ahead.
would you do, Yami?
Wait, hold on, because they're popping fireworks over here. So you go.
Oh,
You go.
okay.
I'm gonna mute
Okay. So now you feel my
Was you
pain.
able to hear me?
I don't hear it though. So look,
Oh
I
yeah, I'm
could
Yeah, we
muted.
probably.
can't hear it.
Oh,
Can
Okay.
you
you
hear my
muted too?
question?
Okay. Nah,
No,
we heard. I heard your question. Yeah, yeah. To answer your
I didn't hear
question.
it. The fireworks was going off. I didn't hear it.
Oh, okay.
So
I
Oh,
was
okay.
please,
Go
saying
ahead. Go
that if you was in a tragedy or something, in a plane crash, let's just say, and everybody was starving, y'all destitute, and you got one sandwich, and you got the kid. Are you gonna feed the kid the sandwich or feed yourself, or how you gonna work that out?
you want me to
Um.
answer?
Sure, y'all go ahead. Whoever go first, it don't matter.
Okay, so I'll feed the kids first because I know how to fast. I know how to go without. So they don't really know how to do that. They're still young. So that's on my spiritual journey, I've been doing that too, learning how to fast and just not consume so much and yeah, just be very disciplined on what I put in my mouth or in my body. So if push comes to shove, I'm definitely gonna feed the babies first, and then when I find some beans and some rice, throw that shit right in the pot. Then we gonna have some beans and rice. Okay,
You in the desert, Yami.
we in the
Listen.
desert.
Yeah, you're in the desert, your plane is crashed, there's no food, there's not going to be no food. There's that
No
one
food, no
sandwich.
nothing. Ooh. So yeah, the babies gotta eat. Babies gotta eat first.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You're a good mother. I can tell just from that response. You're a nurturing type of mother, aren't you?
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah, I
try
could
to
tell.
be. They don't listen sometimes, but what if they don't learn it now, they're gonna feel it later. So
I
you
would take a piece of the sandwich. I was gonna say till you gave the context that I would give them the sandwich and I try see if it's anything else edible, no matter how nasty it is. I'll eat that. But you addressed that, so I can't use that because you said it's nothing else available. So I gotta stick with that scenario. So in that case, they gonna have the sandwich and I'm gonna eat the crust of the sandwich because I got to have some type of fuel to protect them. I got to have something. And if that's the only option available, then we gonna have to split this. Like I need something so I could have some energy to protect y'all.
Good.
I could do
Yeah. I'm definitely going to give them a ration, but I'm going to have a ration also. Because if I'm weak and dead, I can't protect them. If I'm
Exactly.
clinging on you can't go without food. What is it, 3 days? So you got to
Hmm.
put a little something in your mouth so you can help them,
Right.
you know? Yeah.
Great point.
Well, there will be some perspectives and religions that would say self-preservation is the first law. I understand that, but as a mother goddess, I would definitely feed my children. The birds, they chew it and then give it to the
and give
baby.
it to the.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So we learn. That's why we nectar is actually nature, and we're learning. We learn from nature.
Yeah,
That's how most of these
so real.
things man takes credit for is actually how they learned it from the animals, from nature.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, see stuff like that. We begin to talk with each other, and we press each other to think, because that's what Kemet is all about. The mind, exercising the mind and opening the mind, right? So I think that with our people, and we meet each other on our own levels, there is a challenging question for you to measure yourself always. And that's what they did in ancient Kemet. They, they did their rituals and things like that, but they were into knowledge and teaching each other. So I think that if we continue on that road, like, stop playing with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. And I can only speak for myself. I'm ready to step it up a notch and really assume this leadership role that I know that I can do. And it's nothing to do with an ego, because everybody knows their own potential. And I'm just speaking for myself. I'm getting ready to get busy.
You're already doing it.
Right, right.
I mean, yeah, that means a lot coming from y'all, because yeah, it just means a lot. And whatever I know, I'm willing to share it, because I know y'all are going to share it. You're not going to keep it to yourself. And I learn. I'm definitely a learner, you know. But yeah, it's time to get busy. So, Young Miami, down with the Young Miami, up with some Hesse. Hesse, this is originally
I
we
don't
would
know,
sit
Hesse.
around with each other and sing our own damn songs. You understand? We don't
What's
always have
Hesse?
to mimic somebody else's words. It's called Hesse. Hesse in ancient Kemet. We'll sit around and we'll sing songs. We could be praising the gods and goddesses, the sun, whatever. But we didn't repeat somebody else's stuff all the time.
Oh, that's what they do now. All they do is copy each other.
Right.
That's all they do. There's no
We can challenge
originality.
each other to be original, you know. Wayno says, my children has always been before me. For a man, that
That's
works. That works.
yeah.
Y'all are in charge of finding food, but remember, you're on a desert island and there's nothing but that sandwich. I
Well, you
want you
know
to
that
put that in.
there are desert animals. If
Say it
you know
again.
how to build a fire, because there are
That's
some
true. I
things
mean,
in the
getting to
airplane
find an
that you
animal
can
on the
manipulate. You got to use the
There's
brain.
no animals on this island, Yanni. There's no
You said
way.
She said that's
There's
all we got.
only
That's
the
all we got.
sandwich.
nah. There's a desert. There's some desert island. There's some animals there.
You're gonna
Look,
do
she
the
said she gonna find something to
African
eat. She
stuff,
don't
Find
care. She
something.
right?
gonna find something else.
Okay. I'm a
We're gonna learn how to multiply fish, because I tell you, he had to learn that in Egypt. If it happened, he learned it in Egypt.
okay.
He learned how to turn water into wine there.
I
You
was
know.
just about to say something about that too. Once you
Go
said
ahead,
the
go ahead.
fish. Oh no, nah, you said it already.
Oh wow. We're in alignment, right?
Uh-huh.
Everybody, we're gonna have last remarks before we get out of here, and y'all go ahead.
So my last remarks, I just want to thank y'all for having me first of all, and yeah, man, just let y'all know I appreciate it, and man, to my people, man, I love my people, I really do. It's sometimes it's so, it's not the easiest, fight, trying to win this battle we in, the battle of self and the battle of trying to uplift, get help people realize the greatness within themselves so they can uplift themselves. Because I was about to say uplift others, but like
Mhm.
I say too about healing, I don't uplift nobody just like I don't heal nobody, right? I practice natural medicine, but I don't heal nobody. I
Right.
only give people the information so they can heal themselves.
Hmm.
So people, I
True.
don't uplift nobody. People uplift themselves. I'm just a vessel, a reminder sometimes. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, but it's in you. You know, it's in you. You the
Hmm.
one. Like that's why, and yeah, it's in my people, and I see it. Like I love my people. I see it, man. I'm telling you, like I done spent
Hmm.
time with other people, like other races on this planet. I know it's something about us. Like it's just I cannot put it in words, but it's just something about us through all of the bullshit that we got with us. It's just something special there that I don't see nowhere else with nobody else. And for that reason is why I'm still fighting, and for that reason is why I'm like unapologetically black. Like I'm telling y'all, like I'm unapologetically African. I'm down my people, even though on a world scale we losing right now. I'm a like we gonna lose together, but we technically never gonna lose if we together because we gonna win as long as we together. Like we don't need this system. Remember, that's my closing remarks. I'm gonna tell y'all again: sunlight, air, water, nutrition, possibly shelter. That's all we need. You don't technically need their money. You don't need their materialistic things. We don't even need their food. We don't need their electricity. None of that. We can figure out a way because if we got each other and we learn to work with each other and get over all this BS, put the egos aside, to pause the emotions, we can make it. We don't, that's all we need. So don't let them think that you need something else. Don't crash out for materialism. Don't risk your life. Don't neglect your family, like for all this material things, for money, for things you think you need, because you don't really need that stuff. What we do need: sunlight, air, water, nutrition, and a good thing to have is love and each other. So let's focus on that, man. I love y'all. I do.
Peace and love. Yes. Thank you so much, Brother Heru, for blessing our podcast. And of course,
Definitely.
you will be back. Brother Tashaka says, "Speak life to us, brother. I needed to hear that, God." Yes, absolutely. Um, Again, you are such an inspiration for us all. It's so great to see, um, I'm going to say, young people come and be involved, care, be interested. Um, Uncle John Seneb and Uncle Ma'at, for you and your family, your journey. And we're definitely going to keep in contact.
Definitely.
Absolutely. You're my brother
Definitely.
now, Brother Heru.
Man,
Yeah,
I'm
Yami.
already in debt to you for some notes you
I
did
just be
for me.
scooping
So
people up. You know what I'm
now I'm
saying?
in double debt.
You're
And
definitely part of the team. Absolutely.
Yeah.
and I apologize. What was your co-host name again? Because I can't see the names anymore.
That's
Oh,
okay. Yami Bula.
Nibula.
Okay, Yami. Okay,
Yami.
got you. Yeah,
Yes. Go
Yami,
ahead.
like mommy.
Brother Heru, tell the others how they can contact you if you have a website or, for your herbs and plug. Go ahead. Be the plug.
Yeah. So I put my website in the chat now. Oh no, I said I can't post a link. It's basically I
Yeah.
have root
You
three
can tell
six
me I
nine.
can do
Yes,
it.
Tanya gonna put it in there for you.
I have root369.com.
Oh,
And
okay.
I'm on all social networks too, but I'm really only on TikTok for real. That's what the only thing I really check. I just repost my TikToks on all other platforms. But it's best to contact me through TikTok or through my personal website. And I'm actually not selling any herbs right now because my daughter has a cat, and I'm
I
not
did it. I did it
comfortable
wrong. Hold on. I'm
selling
sorry.
stuff like with cat hairs floating in my facility. So until that cat gets up out of here, I would not be selling no herbs. I would recommend y'all go to Blue Nile Botanicals, BlueNileBotanicals.com, or if you in Washington, D.C., Georgia Avenue, right by Howard University. No, it's iHaveRoot369.com.
Okay.
Yeah,
Is
so
that it?
You're supposed to, yeah, 369 after Heru.
Oh, okay,
yeah,
okay, okay. I
yeah.
got you. Dang, I
But yeah,
typed
that's how
that.
you
What's going
contact
on?
me, and yeah. But
I
if
got
if y'all need any information like with herbs or anything, I'm definitely willing um to provide that to y'all as long as my time permits. Like I don't need want no money or none of that. Like I take donations. There's a donation button on my site, but like yeah, like yeah, whatever I could do to help, I will.
Yeah, you said Blue Nile Organic
Botanicals,
Botanicals.
Blue Nile Botanicals. Yeah, they're great herb shop. They're one of the longest owned black businesses in Washington, D.C. They've been
Okay.
around since I think 1977.
it's
Yeah.
.com.
Yes,
Yeah.
BlueNileBotanicals.com. Yeah. And yeah, they have a nice selection, and I can definitely vouch for them. And I know in y'all New York, so y'all definitely got all the herbs there. I know
Yeah.
y'all do, especially probably in Brooklyn. I bet you Brooklyn got some spots.
Definitely Brooklyn.
Oh,
I
heck
know in
yeah.
Brooklyn. I'm
I
trying to
knew
find
it.
in Harlem
Nicholas Bookstore.
Nicholas Bookstore. I gotta look them up. I gotta go. I gotta go walk around.
Yeah, they got the herbs and everything too. There's a man in South Carolina I want to see. Y'all know who I'm talking about? He be
I
on
know exactly. He
he
wear the
be on
Kemet stuff.
yeah,
I
that's my
Oh,
guy.
okay,
love
I
okay.
that
forgot
I
the
know
brother,
the
man's
guy.
man. I
name, but
love
yeah,
man.
he's in
Yeah,
South
He is
he's
no
true.
Carolina.
joke,
He's
He's
true.
King something. I want to go see him for sure.
Yeah,
and he's
yeah.
so
I
funny.
subscribe to his YouTube. Yeah, he
Yes, yes, we need to
is.
go on another journey and find
Yeah,
him.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he got some stuff.
He not
Yanni,
that far from neither one of us. New York
I
or
didn't.
DC not that far from North Carolina.
Yeah, I
No,
think he's in
no. It's a
South
nice
Carolina,
drive.
but I'm not
Or
sure.
even
Yeah,
South Carolina. Yeah, he
yeah,
ain't
that's
that ain't
we
far.
definitely just drove right through there.
Yeah, we sure did.
Yeah, Yami,
Yeah,
you want to do your
yeah. The next,
closing?
um. Okay, so I want y'all to like and subscribe. You know, um, put some comments in the on the page or whatever. Tell us how you like the show. And yeah, thank you for stopping by. We love y'all and peace. You
Yes.
know?
And as always, thank everyone for coming and
Yeah,
making this such a deep and needed discussion.
yeah,
For those that will watch the replay, if you have any questions or anything, comments, please put them in the appropriate areas and questions will get answered. Definitely like and subscribe. And peace and love. We love all of y'all.
love everyone.
That's not that easy to say because it has to have truth to it. So when we say it, y'all best believe that that's what we mean. You
Yes.
know, when we
Yes.
say 1, 2, 3, we love y'all. Much love to everybody. Love, love, love. And Kemet love. Kemet Unk love. Unk and my aunt love out there.
Yes.
Everybody that stands in need of a healing. Just if you're going through things in your home or whatever, one simple word, two simple words say Unk and my aunt. Unk and my aunt.
Okay,
Google those words, but together, bless yourself. You can bless your food with these two words. Learn two words. Ankh, which is the life symbol that you see right behind Yami. Young, Ankh, and Ma'at. Ma'at is the goddess of the 42 laws that we all need to follow. So everybody's little homework assignment out there is to look up Ankh, know what it is, the symbol, and
Yep.
look up Ma'at. I put it in the chat. And on that note, we will say peace and love.
Peace and love, family.
Those two
Peace and
words.
love, fam.
Yes.
If y'all
Look up
shoot fireworks tomorrow, it's a distress signal to the ancestors. Send help.
Absolutely. Unk and Ma'at. Those two words. Let's start simple. And when we come back on our Tuesday lesson, we'll have 2 more words. And then we're going to have a game show to see if you remember them words. Somebody's going to win a prize. How about that? Yeah. Woo! We love prizes. I know y'all love prizes.
Right.
I love
do.
prizes. Yes, indeed. I also like to be the winner too, y'all. So we're gonna learn some words. Peace and love from the Scarberry Queens, and we'll go out on our intro song or our outro song.
Beautifully.
Family.
Yeah, this is dope. This is a dope show. Really dope.
Trying to love again. Scarberry and Queens. Tanya 23 experience. Yummy Bula, let's talk. Scarberry and Queens, we bringing truth to the scene. Not just opinions, we building solutions and dreams. From pain to purpose, yeah, we breaking old routines. Trying to heal black love, men and women in between. Scarberry and Queens, let the ancestors speak. Motherly laws bring the village back to the streets. We ain't here to fight, we here to teach and to reach where we can rise together, soul to soul, heart to beat. It's the Tanya 23 experience, voice of the mothers, trying to stop us from seeing each other as enemies, brothers. Some of us hurt, some of us tired, some of us only know survival, not desire. I seen mamas cry, I seen aunties pray, I seen grandmas hold the family together every day. So why we forget where the love come from? Why we treat each other like we already done? We here to remind you, not judge your pain, not point fingers but break them chains. Men need nurture, women need respect, and both need healing, not toxic effects.